Hey everyone, it's Kerri with Feng Shui Pathways. Thanks for stopping by and joining me. I'm talking today about mirrors and how they're used in Feng Shui and why you should be careful about placing them and just some tips on where you can place them and where you shouldn't place them. I get asked this question so often when I'm out and about. I actually was talking to somebody the other day at a business meeting, and they asked about whether to place a mirror somewhere and where to place it. And honestly, it's a tough question to answer on the fly because of all this stuff I'm going to explain to you. So I'm just going to swipe for a second here and make sure I can see if anybody has any questions. So mirrors are really powerful, and I'm sorry for the jiggling. I have my trusty helper here. This is Peaches, and she's sometimes helpful, but not always. So I have notes too because there's a lot to talk about. So there's so many uses for mirrors in Feng Shui as a Feng Shui cure. They are obviously used to reflect things, whether it be your image or to reflect what's coming up behind you so you can see and not be surprised. They're used to multiply or double the energy of something. They can be used to expand a space or enlarge a space. This is really useful if you are missing parts of the Bagua map in Feng Shui. If you have a missing area of your house, we can use mirrors to kind of expand into that area. It's also used, it can be used to deflect energy or to absorb energy. There are special mirrors that are used for that, and I don't recommend you trying to do that on your own, but most of the other stuff, it's really pretty simple to apply. What's important to know about mirrors is that they are considered the water element, and so they're especially helpful to put in places of the house that are supported by the water element. So that would be the career area of the house or the abundance area to start with. But it also means that there are some places where it really shouldn't be placed because it will water down the more fiery areas. So mirrors aren't useful and can be kind of damaging if you place them in the fame area of a room or the fame area of your house, because you're essentially putting out the fire if you're not careful with how you're doing it. So basically, with all these different cures and ways that mirrors can work, if you place them right, they can really bring good energy into your space. But it's important to know that if you place them wrong, they can end up magnifying some challenges that you either weren't aware of or just overlooked. So it's really important to think about it and use some intentions when you're placing the mirrors. So a couple tips for you. I don't want to be on for too long, but I want to tell you that my first tip would be to be aware of what it is that you are reflecting when you hang a mirror or place a mirror. You want to, ideally you're reflecting something that is positive and that you want to create more of, that you can double the effect of. So for example, it's great to have a mirror reflecting the dining room table where families come together and they laugh and gather and communicate and eat abundant foods, and that's a really powerful and positive expression of the energy that you are effectively doubling when you hang a mirror so that it's reflecting that, and make sure it actually is reflecting it. You want to avoid reflecting negative things. So sometimes people will put a mirror across from a window so that it reflects the light and expands the light, but also reflects whatever the beautiful scene is outside. But be aware of negative energies that might be out there that might also be reflected as well. You want to avoid reflecting pipes, electrical outlets, sharp corners. That doubles energy and magnifies energy that's not positive and helpful to you. Also make sure, I started to say this before, but make sure it's a full reflection that you are, showing. You can see a good portion of the dining room table. You can see a good portion of the outside. Make sure that it's not reflecting the ceiling or the floor, and make sure that people that are walking by can get a good view of themselves in the mirror. I avoid beveled mirrors or split mirrors that give multiple reflections, because that can just creates a lot of distortion in life and in what you're seeing, whether that be of your image of yourself or of the image of what's out there in the world. So I tend to avoid those. I also make sure I hang mirrors so that basically everyone can see themselves in a healthy way. You know, they're not getting cut off at the head or cut off at the torso. So you also want to hang a mirror, and you want to use intention when you hang it. So if you know you're hanging a mirror because you want to bring more positive energy into the space, you know, hang it and state that intention as you do so. And if you're hanging it to enlarge or expand a space, you know, that's also something to state and really energetically set in place as you place the mirror. You know, consider it a cure. It really is a cure, and you can increase its power by using that power of intention. And then a couple places I wanted to talk to specifically about mirrors. Number one is the front door. A lot of people will have a mirror in their entryway, and that's usually fine, but there are a couple of reasons why I would avoid a mirror, or places where I would avoid a mirror. First of all, you don't want to be reflecting the doorway. So you don't want the energy that's coming in the doorway, which is going to come in and nourish your house, to be reflected back out. So if there is a mirror that is pointing towards the doorway and reflecting that, make sure it's at least 5 feet back, and not too big of a mirror. You know, I would say maybe 20 by 24 or something like that. Not a huge mirror that's as big or as large as the doorway would be. It's fine to hang a mirror to the side. You know, that helps expand the space. So if you have, you know, it on the door to the side of the entryway or to the doorway, it really expands that space somewhat by widening the room. That's okay. You're not reflecting the energy out, you're widening the room that way. So front doors, you got to be cautious when you're in the entryway and when you're hanging a mirror, but those are my tips about where to hang it and how to hang it. Bedrooms are another area where I really don't encourage mirrors very much. So I know that seems counterintuitive, because you want to get ready in the morning and you want to check and see what you look like and make sure that you're presentable before you head out for the day. And I know most bedroom sets come with a big, huge mirror. So if you have that in your room, it's best to make sure that it is not reflecting the bed. You don't want to have the mirror reflecting you as you're sleeping. It can do a lot to disrupt your sleep and your energy and your sleep patterns. You know, and there's a lot of superstition that says that it will effectively add another person into your relationship if you have a mirror reflecting the bed. I would place a mirror in the bedroom. Mine is behind the door, and I have to close the door in order to open it. So it's not reflecting the bed, and it's not reflecting energy out of the room, but it's still there and I can use it. So those are my tips about mirrors. There's so much to consider. If you're not sure about mirror placement, it's great. This is the one area where I would say it would be great to ask a Feng Shui professional about what's best and whether it works and is reflecting the right stuff. That's all. So have a great day. Thanks for coming by.